All right, everybody, and welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive Safe Dave here, talking to you live from the studio. We got Sir Rick also in the second studio. How are you doing, Sir Rick?
You know what? I'm not doing bad at all. I'm doing a little prison Sir Rick today. You know, you got prison Sir Rick from The Office. You know, you don't know what it's like. It's hard, but it's been a hard life. And then Drive Safe Dave. Let me tell you, you are pulling the Trump off big time, dude. Seriously, you got it going on. At one point, I couldn't hear you, and I was thinking, man, if that could have been Trump's theme for a couple years ago, he may have won.
If he'd have done 4 years of not talking, he'd still be president. No tweets.
So Drive Safe, obviously you are representing Mr. Trump for Halloween, and any big plans for trick or treating? Are you going out? Are you gonna hide behind the bushes and steal some kids' bags or anything like that?
I'm probably going to do some real estate deals on the Upper West Side of New York. I've got some, it's all art of the deal. And then I've got the big monsters in the front yard, and we are ready at our house for the trick-or-treaters.
Now, when you say big, Drive Safe Dave, I mean, I know this is Texas, and nothing's big, everything's bigger than Texas, but describe these freaking dinosaurs or whatever they are in your front yard.
Well, so my wife likes the blow-up creatures. I have right now in my yard, I have a 15-foot Frankenstein, which is pretty big out there in the front yard, and it draws a lot of attention. However, it does not surpass yet Christmas. I usually have a 25-foot snowman.
Christmas is the one. And which one got you, Drive Safe? Because when we get around these holidays, I think it's important for you to go and tell America today, Mr. Trump, what happened to you last year it was either Halloween or it was Christmas?
It was Christmas. So the wind was blowing really bad. I had one of these I had the large snowman out, and he broke free from his tethers, and I'm out there trying to tackle this huge snowman before he blows away. And I got a picture. My wife was laughing so hard because it looked like I was getting my butt kicked by Frosty out in the front yard as I was trying to. And I'm telling you, the wind can he broke free, and he's like this, and I'm trying to get him, and I'm this tiny guy on the bottom squeezing him, trying to get him down, and he's going forward, and just beating me up. So yeah, I got my butt kicked last year by Frosty the Snowman.
Oh man, I just some of these stories, I can I live and I can live through you on these stories, Drive Safe. And you know what? I'm so glad they happened to you and not to me. I don't know if
the memoirs.
You got to be very comfortable with who you are for some of the things that happened to you in your life.
Well, I'm going to have some memoirs when I get older. I am going to write a memoir book.
Let's think about. We're only like a week, 2 weeks away from Women in Trucking.
Oh yeah, the Women in Trucking Association that's going to meet here in Dallas. I'm excited. A great opportunity to go out there, interview and meet some of the big up-and-comers, some of the big women that are established out there, smart, talented, geniuses in their own right, coming out here showing what they got, and coming together as a voice to demonstrate not only their solidarity, but also showing that what they can do and what they can look forward to in the future here in trucking. I'm excited.
We're gonna have some great panels there as well, Drive
Safe
Dave. As BCB Live is going to be broadcasting live from Women in Trucking, bringing them in, talking to them, going over what's happening in our industry, what can we do a little bit better, and Dave, some of these panels are going to be phenomenal. Obviously, we're going to have Ellen on. You know what? We need to have Senator? Is it Hutchison? It's Hutchison, right? Are we going to get Hutchison on?
Yeah, you're talking about the chief of the FMCSA.
Yes.
Yes,
That's what I'm
Robin
talking about.
Hutchinson. Yes, sir. Would
Robin
love.
Hutchinson.
Yeah,
Are we
would
getting
love
her
to
on?
have.
Do we have confirmation yet?
No, not confirmation yet. We're working on it, sir. And if I have to go in and I have to tell her as Trump and go in and make sure that we get the FMCA director over there right away, we will make sure that happens. We will.
We've got to make it happen. If that means you bring in your costume, Dave, then that's what we do. Drive safe, Dave. Hey, you know what? Let's bring Bryce in. Where is she at? For BCB Live. For those of you that know Bryce, she's the one that sets up all of these interviews. She's in costume today as well.
We're going to get her in here, sir. Right now, she's, I think she's at lunch.
Oh, wow. Gotcha.
She's an important, actually, she's on an important call, sir. She's on
That sounds so much better. You could have done so much
She's
better
on a
with
conference
that.
call with a lot of guests, future guests right now. She's.
Hey, but drive safe. I wonder if our guest today can hook us up, can make things happen, can make a phone call or two to get Hutchins in there, right? You think so?
Yeah, Robin, Kate. I mean, I think they're on a first name basis.
I'm thinking so as well. Probably calls her Hutch.
Chief.
Hutch, can we get you on the show? Drive safe, Dave. BCB Live. We broadcasting live. We want to remind everybody you can catch us on Facebook, on Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So many ways to jump in and capture, some great information that happens on the station all the time. There she is. She is back from lunch. Sing us a song, Dolly.
Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living, and it's getting by. It's all taken and no giving. All right, that's all for now.
That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad.
I tried my best. Thank you, Trump. Thank you.
So, love, you know what? Y'all make a pretty good couple. I don't know.
Right?
Something ever happens to Trump. Trump, go for Dolly.
He was first talking about going as Kenny Rogers, so.
I was going to go as Kenny Rogers, but you know what? I don't think I'd have to be a runner. I was singing The Gambler.
You kind of look like Phil Donahue.
I know, he does.
Here, let me put, now I look like Phil Donahue.
Phil Donahue. I get more Phil Donahue now that I think about it.
I'm doing interviews.
Bryce, give us some insight on women in trucking. Who all are we going to have on the show? Just a few names.
Okay. First of all, you are looking real close at me, Trump. He's like staring right at me.
Talking.
Okay. We've got some great panelists. We're going to have one with Eileen Dabrowski and Charlie Safro, Yvette Ferguson, and they're going to give some insight on how to market your company in the trucking industry and how to stay relevant, stay active, and be different. We're also, like you said, of course, going to have Ellen Voyer on the show. We're going to be getting the new WAA Director of Transportation out on the show, Courtney George. And she's going to be talking with Balaji Gunter and Lindsay Trent, who Miss Lindsay is a finalist for the Most Influential Woman of the Year. So congrats to that. We'll also have Kathy Tuccaro. She's going to be on her own. She has a great story to share that is well worth her own time, and we have more to come. I mean, I could be here all day listing off some of the people we
Give me
have.
that surprise one. Give me the big surprise one that we have. Drive safe, help her out.
Robin Hutchins.
Okay, let's just say I'm in the works of that, so we are working on that. Corey from
Lock that down. Close that deal.
Corey from No Cell is supposed to be helping me out with that, so thank you, Corey. So he's got her on.
Thank him after he gets it done first.
He's got Robin on speed dial. Hopefully.
Does he?
Hopefully. So.
She still has to answer it. Hey, he has me on speed dial. That doesn't mean a lot.
It means a lot with me. It means a lot with me. So.
All right. Well, good stuff. We can't wait. Going to be a blast. You have a booth number or anything you can start telling everybody for?
We are going to be at booth 501 and 502, and you'll be able to catch us live on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and then we'll be broadcasting live at the Dallas Anatole Hotel at our booths again, 501 and 502. So you can catch Mr. Trump and Prison Rick there with us. So, and Dolly, of course. So, yep.
I like it. It's a great threesome we have here. So let's make it happen and get things going. Appreciate that, everybody. Hey, Dave, let's go to a break and let's come back. And who's our guest for today? Dolly, you tell us. Sing it to us.
It is Mr. Dana Moore, Director of Policy and Government at Texas Trucking Association.
TXTA. We'll be back in just a second. All right, it is Drive Safe Day with Sir Rick and Dana Moore with the TXTA. How are you doing, Dana?
Well, I was doing good till I saw Mr. Trump there in Prison Rick. You guys are a hard act to follow, not to mention Miss Dolly.
Well, you know what? The contracts keep rolling in. We're going to close the deal on these today and make sure we make big money. So, Dana, I know you were on the show. Hey, great show on Friday. Last Friday on the panel discussion. Enjoyed having you. But today we want to focus a little bit more on what's going on here in Texas and what it means for the entire country. And I think that really goes down to the House Bill 19.
Oh, it absolutely does. In fact, it's basically become the model legislation for the rest of the country. It's how important it is right now. We got to keep in mind it's going to take probably a couple of more years before we actually start to see any results out of it. And here's the reason why. This thing went into effect September the 1st of 2021. And then what happened was right before it went into effect, these plaintiffs' attorneys went and just filed a whole slew of lawsuits to get around having to follow the House Bill 19 rules of evidence. And when you take that in conjunction with a pandemic, the court system is really backed up. So we haven't actually had, to my knowledge, a single case that's gone to trial under these new rules of evidence, but it's coming.
Why don't you just go right in and basically explain what House Bill 19 is and what it means, and let's just walk us through what it is.
Absolutely. It enables a trucking company. It's not just a trucking company. It's any company that operates a vehicle. It could be a car, a pickup, or it could be an 18-wheeler. So it covers the whole gamut of vehicles that are used in the operation of a business. It allows when they get sued, it allows their attorneys to request what's called a bifurcated trial. It breaks it into two parts. Now, I use the analogy of a criminal trial, where you have a defendant who, in the first phase of his trial, will actually be found, him or her will be found guilty or not guilty. If they're not guilty, it's done. If they're guilty, then it goes to a second phase where additional evidence can be brought in, and the jury can determine whether, the amount of punishment for that person. It's very similar here. In the first phase, and this is what's really crucial, in the first phase of this bifurcated trial, The only evidence that can be brought in has to relate directly to one of two things: the negligence of the driver in operating the vehicle and the negligence of the company in maintaining that vehicle. And as a general rule, now there is one exception, it's a little lengthy to talk about, but nonetheless, it keeps these plaintiff's attorneys from going on these long fishing expeditions and digging up stuff that has nothing to do with the crash. For example, they may be looking at inspection reports, roadside inspection reports from several years ago on another driver, another vehicle. And what they're trying to do when they do this is paint a picture of the company as being unsafe, a danger to the public. And if they can get that image put in the jury's mind, then they want the jury to, quote, send a message to this company and the trucking industry that, you know, we're not going to take it anymore. So they really use it to influence the jury. So now the evidence relates directly to the crash at hand, the driver's negligence and the company's negligence.
Hey, Dane, I have a question on that. Let's break it into a company fleet. Is it possible that a driver can be negligent, yet the company not negligent? Have we seen any of that yet?
No, Rick, I haven't seen any of that yet. Now, here's what I am hearing from some of the trucking defense attorneys is that cases that have been filed after September 1st, when these rules of evidence, and that's what they are, rules of evidence, since it's been filed, they are much, much more likely to settle these cases than they were before. Before, they would ask for astronomical amounts, policy limits, whatever, and then they would go to trial. Now they're more hesitant to do so because they know they're not going to be able to pull, I'll call it the shenanigans that they were pulling before. All the trucking industry wants is a fair trial, a fair shake at it, a level playing field, if you will. And we haven't been able to have that in the past.
And I'm just going to ask you really quickly, Dana, how is this? This is actually one of the first steps to tort reform, right? I mean, this is actually an opportunity for us to create tort reform in this state.
Absolutely. In fact, on our legislative agenda coming up in January, we have about 3 or 4, maybe 5 tort-related items. I'll give you an example. We're going to be looking at advertising. You know, when you see the billboards and they put out this, you know, we just won $30 million, and then in real small letters, it tells you, and it's on the commercials too, it tells you how much the attorney took and how much the expenses were and how little actually of the overall judgment that the injured party actually gets. So we're going to be looking at tort. We're going to look at something, and some of these get very complicated issues, but there's something called third-party litigation. And this is a business that has cropped up where Wall Street firms are actually funding these lawsuits. So it's turned into a business. So we're going to be looking at that and a number of other items as well.
Dane, I'm going to go on with that for a second, David. Give me a second. So, and I know you're not I'm not going to ask you attorney questions in here, but when it comes to kind of tort reform, or when it comes to the party that gets into the accident, let's just say the four-wheeler that gets in the accident, are we, the trucking industry, are we giving up too quick to, are we fighting these the way we should? Are we scared to fight? And I guess what I'm saying on that is, if in fact a vehicle, a four-wheeler, is on the road, and let's just use the same instance, for instance, a truck. If in fact that truck, they run that computer on that truck and it's got sensors that are off and it wasn't roadworthy, well, the truck should have never been on the road. Are we doing the same thing with the four-wheelers? Meaning, are we going back and reading there, did they have an inspection? Were they being distracted? Were they talking or arguing with their spouse or friend, their kid in the back seat, that created a distraction on them as well to try to take that off? Or are we just, today, are we just scared and we're just making that deal as quick as we can?
Well, you're right. I'm not an attorney, so I can't address that directly, but I will tell you this. In the past, prior to House Bill 19, insurance companies were really more interested in playing defense.
Gotcha.
It was just cheaper to settle it. There was always that chance that should the jury go the other way, it could be catastrophic for the company. However, now with these rules of evidence that have changed, it's going to allow these defense attorneys for the trucking and business community to actually maybe go on the offense a little bit and be able to look at this. And let me give you an example of what I listened to last week at the TXTA Safety Management Conference. We had an attorney there talking, and he said, this is like the big brother, little brother situation. He said, little brother, hits big brother, and mom just goes, you shouldn't do that. But big brother hits little brother, she's all over him, And he said, that kind of equates to what we've had in the past with car and truck. The trucks are the big brothers, and the cars are the little brothers. And they pretty much get away with whatever they want to get away with. We hope that is about to change.
Wow.
How does how did there was a 6-year study by the Texas Department of Insurance. How does that play a role in these trials?
So far, I don't think it has. The reason that was in there is there were a number of legislators who really honestly wanted to not mess with maybe some of the trial attorneys who may have been funding them. So they tried to push the issue back over toward the insurance, which is not the problem. And so it's kind of an appeasement thing for these legislators. They created this study, 6-year study, so they could just see whether or not that was actually playing a part in it. We don't have any data from that yet.
Is it? And my under the also right now, as it stands, I think that you can't even, if a person's injured in a vehicle wreck, and I'm just asking, we can't even admit that they were wearing a seatbelt or not, and they got, isn't that right?
That is correct. When the seatbelt law was passed, there was some provisions in there that said you can't use it in a civil trial.
Wow.
Wow.
So that doesn't matter how unsafe they are, you can't use that.
Well, that's well, on the seatbelt issue, that's exactly right. But to Rick's point, I think we're going to be able to start looking at the four-wheelers, because we know that probably 75–80% of the crashes are caused by the cars, not the trucks.
Yes, we do.
So let's talk a little bit about everybody else looking inward at House Bill 19. This is really, House Bill 19's pretty much done a step toward the right direction, but other states are looking at this, right?
Absolutely. We get calls all the time, and we're working also with ATA, American Trucking Associations, and their legislative agenda. We really would like to see some federal legislation where, depending on the amount of the lawsuit, possibly it could be filed in federal court. And this is because one of the reasons for House Bill 19 was the fact that in many of the urban counties around the state, the judges were, I hate to say it, but they sided with the plaintiff's attorneys almost every time. And in part, I did mention a while ago, one of the things that House Bill 19 does is it allows for photographs to be considered admissible. And because what was happening was you'd have a picture of a car, a four-wheeler, with a scratch on it, just a scratch. And there would be a picture of it, and the defense attorneys were not being allowed to even bring that in to the jury so they could see the amount of damage. And that's crucial. And so we were able to get in there and say, all right, those pictures are admissible. Now the plaintiff's attorneys have to get in and fight to keep them out, which is a big difference. But it goes to the point that we have some issues with the judicial system and some of the judges in these urban areas.
Do you have and that goes a lot to that says a lot to our ability to make it a fair trial, right? I mean, obviously, in these urban areas, we're not talking about equity, right? We're talking about you're fighting an uphill battle right off the bat.
Well, we certainly have been fighting an uphill battle. There's no question about that. All the trucking industry is looking for is a level playing field, a fair trial. If a truck injured someone, then the company and the insurance company should come in and make that person whole. And if there was gross liability, let's say that, God forbid, but let's say the driver or the truck was drunk and speeding, well, that's pretty gross negligence right there, and that's something that a jury would want to look at. But we don't want the facts of the case skewed exclusively to the four-wheeler or to the plaintiff's attorneys. It should be the evidence should be available, all of it, to the jury, and that's what I think we've accomplished.
Dana, we're in midterms right now. Early voting's happening right now. Is there anywhere that we can go to that our listeners, truck drivers, can go to that maybe some help from the TXTA saying, hey, here's the folks that are pro-trucking, whether we're endorsing them, anybody, is there any help on that just so we can pass that on to our listeners?
I don't know if that list is on our website or not. I mean, our endorsement is considered our check that we write to the various folks from, the governor, lieutenant governor, representatives, and senators. I can certainly see if I can get that list for you, but I don't know if it's available publicly.
Gotcha. Yeah, if you can, like to have it. I know which way I vote, but you never know about Trump over there. He's kind of wishy-washy.
Hey, yeah, all my records in my house.
I'm out in Odessa right now. I'm out here. One of your other guests, Kenny Ray, and I are actually teaching a industry hazmat course the next 2 days. And Mr. Trump, I was out here 2 years ago at a rally that the White House invited us to, and I saw you. And I'm telling you what, Mr. Trump, I've never seen anybody work a crowd like you did. It was phenomenal.
Good job.
But I will say you probably need to work on your dancing skills just a little bit.
I'm going to try.
Good stuff on that, man. Love that stuff. Hey, love what you're doing out there for our industry, especially right here in Texas, and what we're doing with that House bill as well. Critically important, not only to Texas, but to this entire country as we try to get this thing moving, towards that tort reform. Drive safe, Dave. I appreciate you. We're going to get him to say the famous the words that need to be said?
Absolutely. All right, Dana, what I want you to do, I want you to state your name, who you're with, and that you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Can you do that, sir?
Absolutely. Dana Moore with TXTA, watching or actually participating in BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
All right. Thank you, Dana, man. We appreciate it always when you come on here and to let us know a little bit about what's happened over there at the TXTA.
I got to go rob some stores and, go beat some kids up for trick-or-treat and take their bags. So represent Prison Rick the right way today, folks.
Absolutely. We'll be right back with safety.
Hold on a second. What are you doing to represent Trump today?
What I'm doing is I'm going to go out and I'm going to route out the vote. I'm going to go out and make sure we get the vote going because we got a few days left of early voting here in Texas, and we're going to get it done.
Hey, they got early voting going on downtown Mansfield. Let's see if you can get people to storm that place.
No. Not guilty. You can check my files at home. Not guilty. Not guilty. You can check my files at home.
All right. God bless you, Trump, and God bless the USA. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come right back.
All right, Drive Safe Dave here, back with Double Check Dale on a scary and spooky Halloween. It is, what are we talking about today? I think we're talking about slips and falls, right?
Yeah, I do, but I just want to comment on that. That's some fantastic hair you got going on there at Drive Safe.
I dyed it last night.
I'm digging it.
Yeah, I went last night and I had it done over at my hairstylist.
Knockdown job there, knockdown job. Hey, we're talking about slips and falls this week.
Yeah.
And we talk about safety here all the time. And most of the time it's usually about the vehicles, but we got to talk about the drivers too. Because there's way more to truck driving than just driving the truck. You always got to get in and out of vehicles. You got to climb docks. You got to do a whole bunch of things. Slips and falls. You just got to know about your environment. Pay attention to what's going on around you. What the weather's like. Is it wet? Is it rainy? Are there potholes out in that parking lot? Personal behaviors all play a part in slips and falls. Did you know that 20% of all injuries to truck drivers are from slips and falls versus only 17% of injuries from truck accidents?
Absolutely, I knew that. I did know for a fact that you're more likely to be injured walking around than you are going to be in the crash.
Yeah.
So it is a big deal. It is something that we want to talk about and express. I know we're going to be talking about it all week.
Yeah.
Being aware of what you're doing and understanding that there are ways. We've all fallen. I mean, we're all guilty of it, and it hurts.
We've slipped off the step, and you hit your shin on that.
And you hit the shin,
step,
you get the shin bruised or scuffed up, or
hurts.
you fall all the way down, and you're lying there on your back, and more than one place hurts. Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
more than just the shin hurts when you're laying there, and you can turn an ankle in a hole. Step off in a hole somewhere. Yep. You can turn it. You can slip in the parking lot. You can, you can do all kinds of things that make it dangerous. And understanding that you don't want to be out for a while. You can actually not work.
Yeah.
On a simple fall down and hit your go boo boo.
Yep. I mean, it'd take you out for a while. And so, it's like you said, it's situational awareness. Be aware of your surroundings out there. And I find the biggest thing is just slow down. I mean, that just really, we get in a hurry so many times and, try taking 2 steps crawling in the truck or walking too fast across a slick parking lot. Just slow down. Be aware of your situation around you.
Yeah, you got to understand what's going on. And I'll tell you, you can have distracted walking. I mean,
we've got a couple people here in the office that are always...
Can have distracted walking. So you got to pay attention to what you're doing. Understand that you can fall. You just got to watch your terrain and understand you got to be safe in and out of the truck. Even when you get out of that tractor, make sure you always use the 3 points of contact in and out of the truck.
Yeah. Or trailer, or going up the dock steps or wherever.
Always face the object that you're climbing, either in or out. No jumping.
No jumping.
No jumping. It's not good. I'm too old to be jumping.
Yeah. My jumping days
They're
are
over.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not. All right, so here we are. Let's watch a little video.
Let's do that. We're just a little bit close. We're a little too close here, and you can tell the driver is listening to the coach because right at the end we see that the accelerator. He takes his foot off the accelerator, and the power drops way down. Speed drops a little bit, and the space starts to go out. You know what? We got to do it a little bit sooner. We got to get in that habit of when we recognize it or when the coach talks to us the first time, that we back out of it sooner instead of just waiting to the end to try saving it.
Absolutely. All right, we got a little bit more. We got a little rain going on here, or the windshield wipers wouldn't be running.
That is right. And like I said, the good thing about this one is I always like to point out the positives. We're running about 55, 52, which is about 15, 20% underneath the speed limit, which is what we should be doing on a wet road or when it's raining, adverse conditions. So the driver's definitely done that, but there's always 2 parts of speed and space management. Looks like the speed here being managed, but what's not being, Dave? The
space.
There you go. And so just have to, again, get aware of the situation, back out a little bit because you're not saving any time by following too close.
And I'll let you know that anytime you have inclement weather, it is important that you create more space.
Yep. And it's that time of year where we're probably going to see more inclement weather in a lot of areas. So.
Oh yeah, you're going to get an opportunity out there on the road. I don't care if you're driving a truck or a car or anything. You're going to get an opportunity to see changes. This is the season that we're going to see definitive changes out there on the road. As you driving a truck, you can go from 500, you go 500 in a day. The weather may change dramatically.
Yep, and you're going to start seeing a lot more changes, and so that situational awareness, paying attention to it, making the adjustments to your driving habits as those changes occur is
So
paramount.
let me ask you a question. Let's just say you leave Dallas, right, and you drive to Kansas City. There's an opportunity there that the weather may be vastly different in a one day shift, right? I mean,
Yep. You're going through Kansas, you're going to probably encounter wind. I don't know. It just seems like the wind blows in Kansas a lot.
The wind does blow in Kansas out there on the open plains, and seems to always blow either to the side or into it's a headwind. It's never really a tailwind. I have yet to drive across Kansas in a tailwind.
Yeah, I agree with it. But yeah, I mean, just from here to Kansas, you can encounter a bunch of things. And as winter comes on, it may be 70 degrees down here. It may be 20 up in Kansas City, or even going through Oklahoma City or Wichita. So you just got to be aware of what's going on out there. Situational awareness, Dave.
Absolutely. And those situations also apply to the slips and falls.
Yeah.
Because what it was like in Dallas.
I saw 2 videos.
Oh, okay. You still have 2 videos. Well, what it was like in Dallas may be different in Kansas City, and you might be ill prepared to get out of the vehicle and understand that ice built up or something built up on the steps. Okay, go ahead. Next video. A little too close.
A little too close. We see we see some brake action go on and create just a little bit more space. Again, we just gotta. Once we recognize it, not try wait until the last second to do it. Just get on it and on your brakes or off the accelerator, get that space, create that space, and then maintain it.
Absolutely.
This one here is kind of scary. I mean, because those lights, we come up on this vehicle pretty fast, and the driver does a nice job of getting slowed down, has a secondary out, but that vehicle is going very, very slow on the road and not much markers.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I do like about this, that the driver moved out of the way and did an out, and he... not sure of what the speed is of the truck and what they're going to do and what they're going to, no matter if this truck stops on a dime or continues to be disabled, the driver's actually done everything they can to get out of the way and make sure that they don't run up on it. And I think the hazards are on the truck. So I think the hazards came on in the truck, because I think I see some blinking going on. But you want to make sure you're warning traffic behind you as well.
Yep. And we talked about that all last week with our triangles and emergency equipment. Turn those flashers on. Communicate with others around you what's going on with you.
I would like to not see us get too close to the vehicle, though, because I'm not sure what they intend on doing out there on the open highway. And I just want everybody to know, you don't sometimes get to pick when you break down.
No.
And I mean, if you've ever driven a truck, you just don't get to pick. It just happens sometimes. Yeah. No matter if you're in traffic, out there on the road, you don't get to pick when you break down.
No, and it usually breaks down at the most inopportune place and
when
time.
Is an opportune time to break down?
Right next to the truck stop or
in the shop.
Yeah, in the shop.
Yeah,
in the shop.
That makes a lot of sense. Let me drive over to the shop so I can break down a minute. Yeah, rarely have we had that opportunity, but that's what preventive maintenance is for. However, we don't get to pick when we break down, and you're going to encounter these situations. This individual out here in the truck should have moved over, should have gotten off the road.
Yeah, at the speed he was going very slow. Should have got out.
Had a light out. Did you see that?
Huh? It looked like the right-hand light was out.
Right, the hazard light. Yeah, the secondary blinking light was out.
So, yeah, it looked like there was a couple things. You don't get that. Maybe you didn't do a pre-trip. So again, that'd go back to speak to making sure you do your pre-trips.
Do the pre-trip. Be very careful.
Do the pre-trip. If something's wrong, get it fixed.
Is that all the videos? All right, and that's going to be it for us today here on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive Safe Dave here, along with Double Check Dale and my, what's your name? Blake, man in the boards. I'm just kidding. You didn't wear a costume, Blake. I'm pretty mad at you today. I come in, I'm wearing a costume. Where's yours?
I'm dressed up as a safety guy.
Whatever. All right, here it is. Have a great day, and we'll catch you tomorrow here on BCB Live.
The safest station in the nation.
That's what you wanted to do.
That's what I was worried about not going to do.
We're out of here. See you later.